no place like the Q. Family, it's your favorite queer radio personality, Anna DeShawn, and this is Queer News, your favorite weekly news pod where race and sexuality meet politics, culture, and entertainment.
Let me make one final plea. Mr. President, I ask you to have mercy upon the people in our country who are scared now. There are gay, lesbian, and transgender children in Democratic, Republican, and independent families. Some who fear for their lives. I ask you to have mercy, Mr. President, on those in our communities whose children fear that their parents will be taken away, and that you help those who are fleeing war zones and persecution in their own lands to find compassion and welcome here.
Do you all remember that moment? That moment right there where Bishop Buddy stood in front of Trump and his cabinet and asked him to have mercy. Let me just say her courage is contagious, okay? And I had the opportunity to meet her a week ago, and it was a whole moment, okay? And guess what? Family? Y'all know I've been talking about World Pride, and I get to moderate a panel she's sitting on at World Pride's Human Rights Conference. You got that right. I'm going to be moderating a panel with Bishop Buddy. It's going to be another whole moment. And you all are helping me cover the cost. You all are helping me cover the cost of our World Pride coverage. And in a month, you've helped me raise $1,818. Thank you, okay? Thank you, Susan, Rachel, Carolyn, Jay, Rex, Lisa, Ariana, Julianne, Freedom, Andrew, and Kathy. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And family, if you're listening to this and you haven't given yet, please consider it. Okay, please consider it. I'm going to be there for over a week, and I want to cover everything, not just the Human Rights Conference, but the marches, the music festival. I want to talk with the people. Please help me do it if you can. You already know, a link is in the show notes. Family, don't forget about the Queer News tip line. You got a local news story, a queer organization, an artist, you got a song coming out? Send us a queer news tip. I love hearing all of them. And I've got 2 this week, okay? Info on how to submit is in the show notes. And QCrew, what's going on? I can't say thank you enough for your continued monthly financial support of this podcast. Helps to cover the cost of Ryan, our editor, who I quite literally couldn't do this podcast without. So if you believe in the work we do, if you believe LGBTQ stories need to be amplified, if you love and respect how I report on the news and tell our stories, join the QCrew. A link is in the show notes. Now for the news. In politics, we got wins coming out of Texas and Iowa you all should know about. I also heard from Jazlynn Johnson, the mom of a trans teen who was murdered last year. I reported on it, and she sent me a note with an update. I get to share that with you today. In culture and entertainment, let's celebrate Scott Evans' Webby win. We're also going to celebrate deepening the media partnership with Windy City Times with 2 contributor stories today. MSNBC is making history, and we mourn with Big Freedia. Let's get into it. This ain't Texas. Woo, ain't no hold 'em. Woo, so lay your cards down, 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 down. Yo, Beyonce was in Chicago this week, okay? So I kind of had to give it. Despite our wild weather, she did a thing here in the city. And this first political story is coming out of Texas. So, you know, it just felt right. This story, though, is about a win where 12 Republicans voted in line with Democrats to repeal its 1973 law banning homosexual conduct. Family, I always know the story is old when I have to use words like homosexual conduct, okay? Now, this was the first time the House voted to repeal it, and the vote was 72 to 55. They've been trying to get this repealed since 1983, and this is the first time the vote actually went through, okay? Now, there are more votes to come. It's got to go through the Senate. But the bill's author, Representative Venton Jones, said this on his official state representative Facebook page, quote, "I authored HB 1738 because this isn't just about one law. It's about restoring core constitutional principles, the right to privacy, freedom from government overreach, equal protection under the law. This vote was about making sure our laws reflect liberty, dignity, and fairness for everyone." Well done, Representative Jones, and to all those who voted to stand on the right side of history. Family, I got another political win to report, okay? This one now is coming out of Iowa. Back in 2023, Iowa's governor signed a law very similar to Florida's Don't Say Gay law. This law seeks to silence LGBTQ+ students, erase any recognition of LGBTQ+ people from public schools, and banning books with sexual or LGBTQ+ content. Sounds just like Florida's Don't Say Gay law, right? Well, when SF 496 was signed, a lawsuit was filed, okay, by Lambda Legal, the ACLU of Iowa, and Jenner and Block LLP on behalf of students, teachers, and Iowa's safe schools. They've been successful in their efforts, family. They've been able to block portions of this bill from going into effect over and over again. And just last week, they were able to announce another win. And I want to share some key points with you, okay? A federal district court ruled that GSAs and their activities must be permitted without restriction. Books and materials may not be banned merely for containing transgender characters or same-sex relationships. Teachers can answer students' questions on these topics, and they must be permitted to refer to their partners, even if same-sex. The forced outing, quote-unquote, section element of this law was determined to be vague and may not be enforced in any other respect other than if a student asks administrators to use a different pronoun, which still sucks, but it is an improvement, okay? And the court continues to block the book ban, which would have required the removal of books with certain types of sexual content, quote unquote, from all school libraries in its entirety. This is all major, okay? It continues to set another precedent that these types of anti-gay, anti-LGBTQ legislation is unconstitutional. Damian J. Thompson, interim executive director of Iowa Safe Schools, said this yesterday. The court affirmed what we've always known, that the most harmful sections of SF 496 are unconstitutional. With this decision, parents, educators, and students have finally granted the desperately needed clarity they've sought for nearly 2 years. Iowa Safe Schools is optimistic that next year will be less constrained by state censorship and legislative overreach. Our organization is proud to continue standing with LGBTQ students, educators, and parents to ensure their constitutional rights remain protected into the future. Well done, Iowa. Well done. Family, this past week, I received a note from Jazlynn Johnson's mom, Susan. A year ago this month, I reported about Jazlynn, an 18-year-old trans woman who was shot and killed. At the time, there wasn't much information, but it was a unique story for a couple of reasons. One, the person accused of shooting her was a friend, and a friend who came home distraught. He confessed to his parents, saying it was an accident, and his parents turned him in to authorities. Jazlynn's mom, Susan, sent me a very simple note that said, quote, "A year ago, you mentioned my daughter in your podcast. I thought you might want to see what happened in this case." And she linked to an article published by the Las Vegas Review-Journal. And as you all know, I absolutely do. I value the opportunity to provide you all updates on cases that I share on the podcast because that's something missing in our journalism today. The news cycles change so quickly that we hardly get a chance to hear how a family is actually doing or what happened in that case. In the article, I learned that Susan did know the person that shot Jazlynn, Cesar Sandoval. She remembers him coming over to their house and says they were friends for several months and it was common for them to get together and spend time in their car. Susan said, "I even asked her, 'What do you guys do?' Jazlynn said, 'We listen to music, we eat food, we talk about things.'" She says that she doesn't believe he set out to murder her child, but that his actions were reckless and preventable. Caesar has pled guilty to involuntary manslaughter and was sentenced to 14 to 48 months in prison with credit for time served. He recently appeared in front of a parole board and was denied. He will remain behind bars for at least another 6 months. Today, Susan, a former elementary school principal, is looking to turn her grief into good. She's raised $4,000 for a cosmetology scholarship named Jazlynn's Legacy. She's also looking to bring back a local chapter of the National Organization of Parents of Murdered Children to strengthen Marcy's Law, which advocates for survivors and also helps other grieving parents navigate the criminal justice system. Susan told the Las Vegas Review-Journal that, quote, "There's not a day that goes by that I don't think something, whether it's funny or sad, it's almost hour by hour still, even though it's been a year. She made a huge impact on so many people, and there's not really a way to describe the loss because it's just a huge hole." Family, if you want to follow this story, I've linked to Susan's TikTok page where I hope she'll post the link to the website, Justice for Jazlynn. I couldn't find it. So thank you, Susan, for sharing with me so I could share with the people. And we're all sending you the biggest hug as you continue to grieve the loss of your daughter. Now, family, I think this is a perfect time to take a quick break. And when we get back, let's jump into some culture and entertainment, okay?
Mental health coverage is just as important as physical health coverage. In Illinois, mental health parity laws ensure that your coverage for mental health conditions and substance use disorders is not more restrictive than your coverage for physical health conditions. If your health plan has unlimited doctor visits for a condition like hypertension, then it must offer unlimited visits for a condition like depression. Learn more at getcoveredillinois.gov.
Family, meet me at World Pride. 2025 marks the 50th anniversary of Pride celebrations in DC, and we will be celebrating the fabric of freedom. Freedom to be family, freedom to thrive, freedom to serve, freedom to celebrate, and freedom to be exactly who we are. Taking place May 17th through June 8th, there are over 100 events happening across DC. I hope to see you there. Hate is rising in Illinois, but you're not alone. Help Stop Hate is a confidential service that gives victims and witnesses the power to speak up. No judgment, just real help. When you report hate, you get support. Report hate to ilstophate.org or call 877-458-HATE, 877-458-4283. Help Illinois Stop Hate. Family, welcome back to the show. Now let's get into some culture and entertainment. Are you all fans of Scott Evans? Let me just tell y'all I am, okay? He's an Emmy-nominated entertainment journalist who came into our homes as a co-host on Access Hollywood and Access Daily. He also hosted the 3rd and 4th seasons of World of Dance on NBC. But his show House Guest, has made him even more of a household name. It is so good, and his recent Webby win solidifies that I'm not the only one who thinks so, okay? He won in the interview, talk, and after show, series, and channels in the video and film category. It's funny, it's entertaining, with a beautiful scenery and delicious looking drinks, okay? Premiering in June of 2024, he's interviewed powerhouses like Miss Tina Knowles, Leslie Jones, Cynthia Erivo, Bob the Drag Queen, Kaylin Allen, Duran Bernard, Chloe Bailey, just to name a few. And family, Scott is an out Black gay man on national television doing his thing. Representation matters, and winning a Webby is no small feat. So congratulations, Scott. And maybe one day I'll be a guest on your show, okay? Okay. Okay, so part of my work this year has been deepening partnerships with other media outlets and journalists. This has manifested itself in really beautiful ways, starting with Windy City Times. Windy City Times is the legacy LGBTQ media outlet here in Chicago. They've been covering LGBTQ life for over 40 years. Earlier this year, I joined the team as the newsletter coordinator for Black Lines, which y'all have heard about on this pod, a newsletter dedicated to amplifying Black LGBTQ life here in Chicago. And now my Windy City fan will begin contributing to this podcast as well. So let me introduce you to Jerry Nunn, entertainment reporter, and Jake Wittich, managing editor. First up, Jake tells us about the first Partners in Dignity soiree, a celebratory fundraising event for Brave Space Alliance. Jake, please tell us all about it.
Hi, Anna and the E3 Radio family. Jake Wittich here. My pronouns are he, him, and I am managing editor of Windy City Times. I am super excited to tell you a little bit about this next story because last week I got to report on Brave Space Alliance's first ever Partners in Dignity soiree. This event was huge. They raised more than $25,000 for the organization, crushing their fundraising goal. And I spoke with the CEO, Jazlynn Parker, who told me she felt super humbled by this support and that the funds are going to help fill in gaps left by the shifts in government funding. If you're not familiar with Brave Space Alliance, let me tell you a little bit more about them. They are a Black and trans-led social services agency based on the South Side of Chicago. And they reach so many people in and outside of our community every year, helping them with housing, food, healthcare, and identity support. Last night's fundraiser was super well attended. I saw a ton of nonprofit leaders from the AIDS Foundation of Chicago, Task Force Prevention and Community Services, Trans Up Front Illinois, and a few elected officials as well. I think it's really important to highlight the other organizations that were there because a common theme throughout the night was celebrating the community and that with the power of community, we can get through these trying times. One thing that Jazlynn Parker said to me is that none of us can make it out of this alone, and that when we partner in dignity, we can do amazing things. So that's my main takeaway.
When we partner with dignity, we can do amazing things. That is a fact. And I cannot underscore the other piece that Shannon shared with Jake, which is that we cannot do this alone. We cannot get through these times on an island, family. We need each other. And Chicago showed up. They showed up to ensure this organization continues to provide health, housing, food, and identity support on the South Side of Chicago for our trans siblings. So if you want to hear more about this event and or Brave Space Alliance, I've included a link to Jake's story in the show notes. Next up, Jerry shares with us about the second annual Critics' Choice celebration of LGBTQ plus cinema and television. Jerry, tell us all about it, because I have never heard of this.
Hello, Rainbow family. I'm Jerry Nunn, an out and proud Critics' Choice Association member who founded an LGBT committee within the Critics' Choice group in 2022. Last year, we launched a celebration shining a spotlight on queer performers working in television and movies. Honorees were given awards at the Fairmont Century Plaza in Los Angeles. For the inaugural year, big names like Nathan Lane, George Takei, and Michaela J were given trophies for all their work. On Friday, June 6, 2025, we are alive at the same venue with some new blood, such as Career Achievement Award winner Wanda Sykes, Groundbreaker Award recipient Niecy Nash, and Comedy Award winner Bowen Yang are just a few of the honorees. Our host, Sherry Cola, is returning, and there will be singing this time from Bridget Everett, star of HBO's Somebody Somewhere, which was filmed in Illinois. Now, every letter in the community's alphabet will be represented on the special night in California. For those who would like to see the first ceremony, please visit HereTV.com and follow criticschoice.com for more information.
Thanks, Jerry. This sounds like such a great event. I love that you are constantly in LA talking to all the celebrities, okay? Can't wait to hear how it all goes. So once again, family, if you want to watch, lock into HereTV.com. That is HereTV.com on Friday, June 6th. Thanks, Windy City fam, for sharing your stories with us. Have you all watched the new show on MSNBC called The Weekend? Well, it's a history-making moment because it features not one but two Black gay men dishing the latest in political news. This is the first time two Black gay men have co-hosted a news show together on a major cable network. History, okay? Jonathan Capehart and Eugene Daniels, congratulations. Well deserved. I mean, Jonathan is a longtime fixture at MSNBC and Pulitzer Prize winning journalist, okay? While Eugene might be newer to the public, he is not new to this. He's also incredibly respected. He was elected president of the White House Correspondents Association, and before becoming the new senior Washington correspondent for MSNBC, he was the chief playbook correspondent and White House correspondent at Politico. Long titles, okay? These two gentlemen's resumes read. I have no doubt they will be fantastic together. And Jackie Almany rounds out the trio. Jackie has been covering the White House at the Washington Post for the past 6 years. Jonathan told The Advocate that the mission of the show is the mission of journalism, to tell the story, report the story without fear or favor. He went on to say, our perspectives are grounded in our individual reporting, but also in the facts. And family, I think we could all agree, we could use a lot more of that right now. Darian Aaron of GLAAD and a contributor to this podcast said, in a time when critical information reported through the cultural lens of Black journalists is constantly absent in newsrooms across the country and high-profile anchor positions on cable news, the addition of Jonathan Capehart and Eugene Daniels is progress worth celebrating and an example for all organizations, media or otherwise. Black and queer people are in all occupations and all areas of the country. Darian goes on to say, Capehart and Daniels will make history, but they will also bear the responsibility of speaking truth to power in the face of a hostile administration, ensuring more voices are brought to the table, and must open doors to more journalists from all backgrounds who are as talented but lack access to the same opportunities. The world and our community will be watching. Family, Eugene spoke with GLAAD and shared how this moment is possible because of Jonathan's sacrifices and unapologetic energy to show up in rooms just as he is. He credited Jonathan's mentorship and bravery for opening doors for others, including himself. I can't express enough just how important representation is. You cannot be what you cannot see. The show is on every Saturday and Sunday, family, from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. Eastern on MSNBC. And as Darian said so well, we will definitely be watching. In our last story for the day, we are sending so much love to Big Freedia as she mourns the loss of her partner of 20 years, Devin Hurst. She posted on her socials about the loss, sharing that he passed away peacefully due to complications from diabetes and surrounded by his loving family. Devin was only 38 years old. Big Freedia posted that she's lost without him. On Sunday, they held a balloon release in his honor. We send Big Freedia so much love right now because this is without a doubt a devastating loss for her, their family, and for everyone who loved him. Family, you know it's that part of the show for Anna's Got a Word because Anna's always got a word, and I just want to say thank you. I've been over here diligently preparing for World Pride with my team, and I just really couldn't do this without you. I couldn't make these moments happen without your support, without your listenership, without you telling a friend to listen. Just thank you. Thank you for following the journey. Thank you for your support. And I'll talk to y'all next week, okay? All right. Peace. If you've enjoyed what you heard, rate and review us inside your favorite podcasting app. This podcast is written and produced by me, Anna DeShawn. Podcast editing by Ryan Woodhall. And brought to you by E3 Radio and distributed on The Cube. We are Queer News Done Right.